The rain was pouring hard when Daniel Hayes, a well-known single-dad CEO, stepped out of his black sedan. He was tired, drained from meetings that bled into late evenings. But nothing could have prepared him for what he heard the moment he closed his umbrella. A tiny voice, shaking, scared, and soaked, whispered from the dim alley beside the street. "Sir, Mommy can't walk." Daniel froze. In that trembling voice, he heard a fear he recognized all too well. The same fear his own daughter had carried the night he lost his wife. He turned sharply toward the alley. A little girl, no more than 7, stood barefoot in the rain, her thin dress clinging to her skin. Her eyes were wide and afraid. But what hit Daniel hardest was the way she held onto a torn backpack like it was the only thing she owned. Behind her, a woman lay on the cold ground, half conscious, leaning against the wall as if her legs had given out completely. Daniel's chest tightened. He didn't think he acted. "It's okay," he said calmly, kneeling to the girl's level. "I'm here. We'll help her." He approached the woman gently. Her face was pale, her breathing shallow, and exhaustion carved deep shadows under her eyes. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" She blinked weakly but couldn't speak. The girl tugged Daniel's sleeve again, her voice breaking. "She didn't eat today. She works too much. She fell when we were walking home." Daniel swallowed hard. This wasn't just exhaustion. This was a mother pushed past her limits. Without waiting another second, he slipped his arms under the woman and lifted her eyes. She weighed almost nothing. The girl hurried beside him, trying to keep up, her tiny hand clutching her mother's sleeve. Inside the car, Daniel covered the woman with his coat and handed the girl his daughter's spare snack from the glove box. The girl hesitated, like she wasn't allowed to take things. "It's okay," Daniel reassured. "Eat." She took one small bite, then devoured the rest as if she hadn't eaten properly in days. As the car sped toward the hospital, Daniel glanced at them again. A mother collapsing from overwork. A child trying to stay strong. Something inside him stirred. An ache, an anger, and a fierce need to do something. At the hospital, doctors examined the woman immediately. The girl sat beside Daniel in the waiting area, swinging her legs anxiously. After a long silence, she whispered, "Mommy works 3 jobs. She says I shouldn't worry, but I do." Daniel looked at her, this brave, quiet little child, and felt guilt tug at him. He had spent years drowning himself in work, thinking he was doing it for his daughter, yet he knew how lonely she felt at times. Now he saw another child living a much harsher version of that loneliness. When the doctor finally came out, he sighed with relief and said, "She's stable now. Severe exhaustion, dehydration, untreated anemia. She needs rest, food, and a break from overworking." The little girl clung to Daniel's hand tightly. He squeezed back. "Can we see her?" she asked. The doctor nodded. Inside the room, her mother lay with an IV drip, eyes fluttering open when she heard her daughter's voice. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she apologized weakly. "I'm so sorry, baby. Mommy tried." Daniel stepped forward gently. "You don't need to explain. You did everything you could." The woman looked embarrassed, even ashamed. "I didn't want anyone to see me like this. I wanted to give her a better life." Her voice cracked. "But I keep failing." Daniel shook his head firmly. "You didn't fail. You've been fighting alone. That's not failing. That's surviving." Over the next 2 days, Daniel visited the hospital often, surprising even himself. His daughter Lily quickly bonded with the little girl. Her name was Alina, and the two played together while their parents talked. Slowly, the woman whose name was Maya started opening up. She had been abandoned by her husband, left with debts and a child to raise alone. Jobs were hard to keep because she had to juggle schedules. She slept little, ate even less, and spent everything on rent and school supplies. Daniel listened silently, feeling a deep respect for her strength, and a growing anger at how unfair life had been to her. When she was discharged, Maya tried to stand but her legs trembled. Daniel instinctively reached out to steady her. She shook her head. "You've done enough. I don't want to be a burden." Daniel's voice softened. "Helping people isn't a burden. It's a responsibility." He looked into her eyes, tired but still holding a quiet fire. "And you don't need to fight alone anymore." A week later, Daniel arranged something unexpected. He offered Maya a stable job at his company, one with good hours, fair pay, and childcare support. At first, she refused. "I don't want charity." Daniel replied gently, "This isn't charity. You're skilled, hardworking, and you deserve a chance. Let me give you one." Tears filled her eyes, but this time, they weren't from exhaustion, they were from relief. Months passed. Maya flourished in her new role. Alina blossomed too, brighter, happier, finally secure. Lily adored her, and the 2 little girls became inseparable. And Daniel, he found himself smiling more, laughing more, feeling something he hadn't felt in years, a warmth that wasn't forced, a hope that didn't hurt. One evening, after picking up their kids, Daniel and Maya walked side by side, the sunset painting the sky in gold. Maya stopped and looked at him sincerely. "You changed our lives," she said softly. Daniel shook his head. "No, you were strong enough to survive everything. I just showed up at the right moment." Maya smiled, a real, full smile he had never seen before. Sometimes, the right moment is everything. Lily and Alina ran ahead, hand in hand, giggling as the wind chased them. Daniel glanced at Maya, and she looked back grateful, hopeful, and no longer afraid. And for the first time since the night he lost his wife, Daniel felt that life could still offer new beginnings. All because a little girl in the rain had whispered, "Sir, Mommy can't walk." And a man who once thought his heart was too broken to feel again, learned that kindness, simple kindness can change more than a moment. It can change an entire life.